Queensland, as our live stream coverage resumes on YouTube, Instagram and Facebook. Round 3 of the E-Road Australian Rally Championship here in the Gympie Shire, the picturesque Mary River region. Bureau predicting a top of 22 degrees, light winds and a little bit of cloud cover has just crept over us. 4 stages in Heat 1 of the Accent Benchtops Rally Queensland. That block, though, is repeated twice, and this is the penultimate stage of the day. Hi everybody, Greg Rust and Dean Herridge with you for our coverage. Jackie Shivey will be bringing us updates too. We will be with you for live coverage of every car in the Australian Rally Championship field on this stage. But Dean, it has been brutal. We're missing a couple, aren't we?
I think every single stage we've gone, there's been dramas, and with some of the key runners, Rullo's out, Pedder is out. We've had Brody having a problem with his Subaru as well. So there's storylines everywhere at the moment. Sure are.
Let's bring you up to speed. We are basically approaching the halfway mark of this series. At the conclusion of this event, that's where we'll be. We're off to Gippsland next, the iconic fast roads of South Australia to come as well before it all wraps up in Tassie in November. Lots of twists in the story, if you'll pardon the pun, of this championship to come. Now, a look at the event schedule for you over both days. At the end of this stage, competitors will have completed just over 89 Ks of competitive. Another 16.9 Ks to come this afternoon to complete Heat 1. As you can see there, 6 stages tomorrow to wrap up the event. That's basically 3 stages that are repeated twice over the course of the day. Let's have an overview, a little look at the Kandanga stage that we are on at the moment. Basically, 17 kilometres long. We're about a quarter of the way through, as you can see on the graphic there. Dean, fast, flowing, steeped in history this stage, and it sounds like a car is on approach, really undulating. This should be Hayden Paddon about to join us very shortly. He'll go down in the Hyundai, over a causeway, and then through some rivers and lights to come past us here. He's been clawing away at the lead, chipping away at the advantage of Harry Bates.
It sure has, Rusty. Goes into this stage 5 seconds behind. This is the longest stage of the day. It's time for him. He's in a fight-back mode. He wants to get Harry by the end of this heat.
Now, speaking of Harry, Jackie caught up with Harry Bates in service a short time ago.
Really good morning for you this morning, Hayden.
Yeah, strong morning. Feeling good. Not a huge gap, so we need to keep pushing this afternoon and make sure we're still keeping up the intensity, but really good morning. Felt good in the car. Tricky conditions, which I think can be seen with how many people have come unstuck. But yeah, strong morning for us.
Any damage on the car or all good?
No, car's looking fine. So yeah, the guys will check over it now. We've got a 45-minute service and then make sure it's ready for this afternoon. But they're demanding roads, so yeah, it's very hard on the car, driver, co-driver.
Toyota Gazoo Racing driver said at the beginning of this championship he wants to benchmark himself along, against somebody like Hayden Paddon. He is doing the job at the moment.
Yeah, he did. He was really happy after that first loop. But the thing we know about Hayden Paddon is he's actually so experienced that he would have judged the first run, and he's been dynamite on the second pass of the stages. So I asked Harry at the service, have you got enough? He says, I don't know. And he's already clawed back, and it's a couple of seconds per stage. They're going into here 5 seconds apart. This one will be telling, though, to what this final stage and how this will play out for the heat.
There is a little footnote to this story, a minor dilemma, if you will, not a major drama for Hayden Paddon in the opening block of stages this morning. A little bit of brake binding, but they fixed that during the course of service, and he's come out firing this afternoon.
Yeah, he fixed that one, probably just a pad, just sort of rubbing on the rotary, etc. in the way as we sort of hopefully we'll see Harry coming through into shot shortly. Down this hill, iconic. It's just got that railway bridge as he would come into the shots. A steeper downhill that would show into the right-hander over the causeway. Let's have a look at his action through here.
Nice line. Hooks it right over the causeway. We'll pause and enjoy the sound of the Yaris as it comes past us. Little bit more tail happy maybe on exit compared to the Hyundai. Very hard to pick the difference. They're both strong.
They both look good. I want to see the splits, and we'll have a look at those shortly. A culvert off just over our shoulder on that last right-hander. We see them go through a culvert there. There's a witch's hat in the way there. But nice line-up from both of those guys.
Next up, Lewis Bates, who caught up with Jackie a short time ago.
Really tough morning for you. Firstly, how are you? How's the car? And are you going to be able to get back out there this Arvo?
Yeah, not an ideal morning for Anthony and I, but that's rallying sometimes. It was my mistake. It was a silly little mistake, and just did a light roll. The car is definitely fixable, I think. We've got an amazing team here behind us, so I'm hoping they can get us back out there for this afternoon.
maybe we could have kept going, but I was worried we were going to damage the engine because we were losing a bit of water. So I made the call that we withdraw and try and get it fixed for this afternoon and have a proper car.
Just to expand on that there, some concern potentially about the header tank, which looks after cooling for the engine. They opted or erred on the side of not doing stage 4 to look after the engine, but a quick turnaround to try and get him back in the game here.
Yeah, you're doing what we're seeing people like Scott Petter do before, re-enter, try and get some points for the day, salvage and come out fighting. Being the sprint format, after today, we lock, we square again tomorrow, and he can fight back. So, yeah, rather than risk it for today's result, they're looking at an overall picture.
So if you follow the sport closely and you were with us at the beginning of our Facebook coverage this morning, we spoke to Scott Petter at Galvanised Insurance Rally Central. He is not in the queue, and we would be ordinarily expecting the Petter's driver at this point. Been an incident for him. He's out of the game for the day. We'll update you on that shortly. Meantime, let's have a look at the performance of Lewis Bates here. Anthony McLaughlin alongside him.
Yeah, and a quick update as well. 4Ks in. Harry Bates 0.4 of a second behind on the splits.
Now that, I think, is actually Alex Rullo. So that will be...
Oh, he's understeer right in front of us there. Just pushed on him as he's trying to lock it in. But yeah, Alex in front there.
Just to, I mean, the obvious aspect of that story is maybe the work that's been going on with that car. Maybe they've gotten out of service a little bit later than ideal.
Potentially, but to me that's the same gap. I mean, we're out here in the middle of the field assessing it all. To me, that's the same gap. Maybe they have put Alex, who's still in the event, and you put Lewis in behind him potentially. That might have been done by the organisers, so we may still see Lewis Bates come through yet.
Alex has been trying some different things in relation to his own driving style. And some changes to the car to get it perhaps a little less flamboyant, he said to us in Service Park before, just to get that kind of, particularly that mid-corner performance, a little bit tidier here. And he's done a pretty reasonable job so far.
Yeah, and the thing about it, Alex is a real confidence driver, so he's just trying to find the sweet spot. I think that's where having someone like Jaidyn in the same garage is actually helpful for him, trying to find and settle on a setup that you can get your teeth around.
Now, I think we're going to bring you maybe another update here very shortly. We were hoping to see Troy Dowell on the road, but he is another one who is unfortunately out of the game. Let's have a look.
How's your morning and how's the car?
Yeah, it was really challenging. The roads are really loose and very hard to read right now. We hit a little tree stump and had a bit of an issue through a massive dip. So we're having some confidence issues through there. But yeah, we got through the service.
That car obviously run by Toyota Gazoo Racing. And on that note, that's a nice segue back to Lewis Bates, who's on the road here. Let's have a look with that soft rollover before the intense work by the crew there at Neil Bates Motorsport. They've got him back in the game, going well.
Great good through there. See what he does through this tight. It goes left and right under here. Hard to turn it in. Little bit of push on the way through, similar to Alex. Not quite as committed as the opening two, but like you said, he's now in just comfort mode, trying to make sure he gets through and salvages what he can out of the day.
Why don't we bring you, while we get set for the next of our cars, another update from Galvanised Insurance Rally Central a short time ago, because it's an epic battle this weekend in the Wolf Production Cup. Let's hear from Clayton Hoy now.
Really difficult morning. How did you go, and what are your hopes for this afternoon?
Just to get through. Not doing a test, I was a bit rusty, so we haven't been driving the best, but we've had a small electrical problem under the dash. We've had smoke coming out from under the dash. I tried to MacGyver it up, and I did get it working, but then just started smoking again. We had smoke pouring out from under the dash. I didn't know what was going on, but I think eventually a fuse blew somewhere and it stopped, and we're continuing on all right, but very distracting.
For people following at home, it looks like you didn't finish the last stage, but you actually have. Can you talk us through that issue?
Yeah, so basically the fuse blew and then we didn't have rally safe at all, so we had no timing. We timed ourselves, I think we were about fifth quickest, so we went through all right.
Well, good luck, thank you.
As I said before, in Wolf Production Cup, it's been seesawing in terms of the lead for that. You enter Bodie Reading for this round of the championship, a two-time champion. Unfortunately, he's had some dramas too. His first rally of the season.
Yeah, a big compression through a culvert's done some damage to the car. They'll take that back to service, see how much damage has been done. But yeah, that's a bit of a shame for a good fight. And of course, you add into the mix Josh Wiedman, who's doing a great job in his Evo. Just an update, Rusty. Looks like we could have at 11 Ks in on a split. 1.5 seconds up for Harry. If he can win this stage, that puts him in a real strong way to be able to consolidate the final one of the day, and that would be a massive boost for him if he can win this heat.
What a message that would send going into the final 16-odd Ks of Heat 1.
Patrick O'Brien on screen now, the Irishman in the 4. Let's have a look how he copes with this stage through Kandanga. A little bit more on the inside. He lipped up on the left. Had a really nice tight run into the right-hander, and he's getting quicker and quicker with every stage.
Car with a bit of history we should point out too. He was due to join us, I think, in WA, but is here in Queensland. And when you look at the results, if you look closely, and there'll be eagle-eyed followers on the Subaru Results Hub doing that, a 5-minute penalty, unfortunately, this morning. Had it not been for that, the positive for me is he could have been arguing maybe 4th or 5th in this one.
Very much close to Clayton Hoy and gaining in on the time there, so it could have been a net 4th result. And that's what we'll be aiming for. The good news is a reset for them. That was all to do with some of the dramas in the control tables and bits and pieces. So an error, clerical error on that behalf. But like I said, Operation Fight Back for him as well. Like I said, that's where the drama in this sport, up and down, whether it be a crash or mechanical, the timing of this event is a crucial part as well.
Well credentialed, as Dean said there before, hails from Ireland. And boy, we had a contingent from Ireland at the last round in WA. They're enjoying their time competing down under, aren't they?
They all love motorsport and rallying particularly, and they're really adding a flavour to state series, and it's great to have them entering into the Australian Championship round as well. That's the ex-Lucaneer car. It's housed in Perth, and as you say, with the drama that the McNabb team had in Perth, they bolted that back together, brought it across here, and great to have them in Queensland.
All right, we're going to bring you an update very shortly on the state of play of things too. Should encourage you, if you're watching our live stream coverage here and you're in Queensland or in the area here, not far from Noosa, about 60 k's to the northwest of the Sunshine Coast, come and check it out tomorrow. The Gympie Showgrounds today, I don't reckon I've ever seen a crowd that big. It's unreal, isn't it?
It's a great feeling. To be in Galvanised Rally Central, have so many, 3 and 4 deep, looking at these cars being worked on by amazing technicians, engineers, mechanics, volunteers, depending which team you're in, and a great lineup of different categories and cars to look at. Really great to see.
Okay, so next car on screen, we'll be doing an update very shortly. Here's Clayton Hoy first. We'll just watch him come through past us here. Remember, second-generation competitor, hails from Coffs Harbour, takes it very tidily in that Evo. Why don't we...
He's a real talent, Clayton Hoy, and he hasn't done as many rallies as you would think in actual fact, so doing a good job in production out in front.
Time for an update on the state of play. Here's Jackie.
Thank you for that, Rusty. We're starting to get some times through for this stage, and I tell you what, this competition is absolutely heating up. So at lunchtime surface, Harry Bates was in the lead by 9.4 seconds ahead of Hayden Paddon, and Hayden has been clawing that one back. After stage 5, that gap was down to 7.7 seconds. And after stage 6, Hayden had worked that gap down to 5 seconds between Harry Bates. Now, Hayden has just done this one in 8 minutes flat, and Harry has also done that one in 8 minutes flat. So there is still only 5 seconds separating those two drivers. So there's some pretty fast times compared to this morning, where both of them were in the 9 minutes. And the Alex is also doing pretty well. So he's currently running 3rd at the moment. But very, very exciting update with those times, gentlemen, wouldn't you say?
Bit to look forward to over this final stage, isn't there? I mean, it sets it up from a rally fan standpoint. Jackie, thank you for a cracking end to the afternoon. We're sort of getting to the point now where a few of the Wolf Production Cup competitors are coming through. I think while we, in fact, wait for the next one to emerge, why don't we hear from Josh Wiedman, who spoke to Jackie back at Galvanised Rally Central.
Josh, pretty tough out there this morning. How did you go, and how's the car going for you?
Car's going awesome. It's tricky stages. It's very tight and technical stuff. So I'm just sort of figuring out the new car, and we ended up clipping a stump, so we got a little vibration in the front. So we're trying to fix that now.
You're feeling more confident heading into this afternoon?
Yeah, 100%. Now that we got some K's down in some of that tight and tricky stuff. So hopefully.
Just came past us there as the interview wrapped up. Looked nice and tight. He's still learning this car, longer wheelbase car. Good story, this one, but he is battling, as you would have heard in that interview. The extension to the story that he spoke with Jackie about there is that they were not able to fix that broken sway bar before he headed out from service. So he is battling that this afternoon. He's just got to get it to the close of play today.
Yeah, and look, he'll manage that fine. There'll be a few people who would love to have that as their only problem to have a sway bar. It does affect the handling, how it turns in, the driver feedback, but that's something you can definitely cope with. Some people, depending on conditions, actually do run with sway bars off, would you believe, depending on the car and the setup. A great story for him to step up to a newer version production car, and he's showing some real pace, some real talent, getting a bit of confidence, which is awesome.
Can we talk MRF control tyre and the way that people may have approached that? And I asked that, it's a little bit of a loaded question. This morning's first stage, quite slippy, and the road surface beneath it, the way it's been compacted, a little perhaps on the abrasive side. The stages that followed, very, very different.
Yeah, and the thing is, even it's slippery in the way that the surface is hard packed, which we like, but it has a real clay base. And in the sun, what that does actually rolls the tyre over. Most of them are choosing to go for the softer compound MRF. They feel like that's sort of got a little bit more performance in it, but it wears obviously clearly a little different. So when you're turning into the corner, you've got obviously the square. Blocks have now sort of rolled over and you lose a little bit of performance. So it's actually a hard-wearing, in actual fact, tyre.
Waiting for the next of the cars to make their way through, Glenn Brinkman and Scott Beckwith, and we should be talking about, and when we've gone to Wolf Production Cup, this has been, and you're closely associated with this, another great addition to the championship, a one-make series. Toby Price is back for another crack at this as well, and Glenn Brinkman basically said to us at service, no problems, play on.
Yeah, it's awesome. And look, Brinkman's a two-time Queensland champion. He's actually been going head-to-head, stage times with Toby Price, which he's quite liking, I think. But, Toby learning the car, learning rallying and pace notes and all sort of stuff. So let's have a look at Brinkman coming through. Normally he's piloted things like Escorts and Evos. He's got the near standard double X and piloting through quite hard. They're really enjoying getting their teeth into these cars now, getting a bit of confidence behind the wheel.
They tell us too. I think that there might be a couple more, maybe in the pipeline.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we would have we've got one being repaired, another one on the way. We've got Andy Van Can, who should join us back in South Australia. So, the more we can get there, that'll build to be a great little tussle series.
Little update for you as well. I know many of you have been asking on Facebook. One car that is missing at about this stage of the game. Ordinarily, we'd be expecting Peter Rullo and Ben Searcy to be coming past in their Hyundai i20. An incident for them early this morning, and we'll keep you posted on how Ben's going.
Yeah, I believe they're both okay.
Good.
But like you said, a good big accident for that. I don't think they'll be back. I'm trying to sort of understand whether even Scott Pettit will be back tomorrow. I believe the car's quite heavily damaged, which would be a shame to miss heat too. And that's really what's upset the rhythm of the rally in a way. And that timing error we talked about for the Irishman was sort of caused by the delay on the stage and making sure everyone was safe.
Where are we relative to that, exactly. And so on?
So even the event is running a little later than normal. We went back to service. We've closed the field up with what we have built in as a regroup. And so, you can sort of now see we've got the gaps all sorted out. But definitely the organisers are just as busy as the drivers and the teams out there at the moment.
We know many of you are multi-screening as well. So while you're enjoying the live stream coverage, you can go to the Subaru Results Hub. Go to rally.com.au. You can click on that. We're getting lots of updates along the way ourselves, just in terms of timing. It should be a classic fight to the end of Heat 1. Harry Bates versus Hayden Padden. Right now, though,
here's a great young team. The Gluskie's coming through in an RS. So would you believe we've got the Double X Challenge there? This is the one-make series sort of car from back 20 years ago, doing a good job in the Junior Cup section of the field. We're interested to see them. I haven't seen them live on stage too much before. Jaidyn pilots this car really heavy and fast, and of course he'll go head-to-head against Jackson Long, in particular the juniors. They've got identical cars. Let's have a look how he goes through here. Non-turbo, you can see him revving it out a little more than the turbocharged cars and stuff, but really trying to wring its neck on the way through this stage.
So Jaidyn's back for a second shot at the ARC Junior Cup. Came really close in 2024, didn't he? So
devastatingly close in actual fact, but great team and well supported by their family as well. I forget how twisty these sections up. Past that causeway that left.
You had a little walk down memory lane here, didn't you?
The thing is, I've seen it from the driving point of view, but I've never actually been out here to see it and walk across, that iconic bridge where the railway line is, etc. is unbelievable. So the other report we're getting back through is the times are all over the place. So I don't know whether, so the dead heat is not, I think, working, but the times are a little difficult at the moment. They're being fixed, so we'll give an update as soon as we can. But just so you know, some of the results early on that you might have seen will be probably reshuffled and sorted out.
That happens. We're updating it as things unfold for you. So just to Dean's point there, the section of stage that we have chosen for you is about a quarter of the way into the Kandanga stage. Some real undulation in this, really cool. Down, over a dry creek crossing, if you will.
And in other years, that's been water across there, would you believe? Oh, what a great spectator point to go through there. Water across this sort of concrete crossing underneath. And there's actually the railway bridge there that they're now closing down, but used to have spectators back in the day.
So here we go. Next car about to make its way. We think that's Tony Sullens. So
front-wheel drive car, of course, a Citroen. Lovely car. He really knows how to pilot this thing. He's a Targa Tasmania winner. He's won state championships, etc. I love the fact that he comes to each of the round. He loves driving this car, knows how to hustle it. Let's see if we can identify, it's the first of the two-wheel drive, and it's front-wheel drive. In fact, see if we can see any changes through this section of the road, as he's come through really close to the bank there, around the causeway, straight around, drive on the way. You can see the sort of way the car just goes straight back up as he puts the power down. The left-hander up into this one in front of us now. Oh, he's gone wide there. Is Cole. We got the dust in front of us. You probably had a better shot than us. That is wide. The left-hand rear out in that gutter. I talked about a cone. Did he get it? It was wide.
I reckon we can get one of our great backers of the E-Road Australian Rally Championship to go for save of the day. Surely we can create a segment like that. Great work.
Particularly in a front-wheel drive car, he's thrown it in and then you've got to try and catch it. We're doing some wheel work to catch that and get it straightened back up again.
Beautiful warm afternoon. A little bit of cloud cover that we had at the commencement of our coverage has cleared in part, and as we said, about 22 degrees. So magic afternoon for competition.
It's been an unbelievable 3 or 4 days, to be honest. And with the rain they had earlier in the week and then it settled, it actually has worked out to be, I've been told by people that these roads are in perfect condition. Like the best rally roads I've seen in here for a while.
With a little caveat, will we get a dusting of rain tomorrow? Will that make the complexion of Sunday perhaps a bit different?
Definitely on the radar, that's for sure. And I mean, that definitely changes these roads. And, we talked in Perth about a little bit of moisture helps with a bit of grip. Not at all. In this case here, you get a bit of rain, it is slippery instantly.
Okay.
You saw there a little bit of dust floating around the background because there's not a breath of wind. Normally in the afternoon you might get a bit of wind. It's not probably dusty enough with the fact that they had that rain earlier in the week. But if this had been a solid sort of 3-week run-in with dry, you'd definitely start to get some patches of dust.
We are with you for the entire Australian Rally Championship field for our live stream coverage here. In the meantime, let's get an update on the overall state of play. Just waiting for this car to come through first, and then we'll bring you to Jackie for that. The reason we're doing that, the reason we're pausing with Jackie, is because Toby Price is inbound, has returned from the United States. You know this guy well. Came to WA, jumped on board the Subaru, has got plans to drive something a little more powerful, a rival make in coming events. He is hooked, isn't he?
If he used the trophy trucks and stuff like that, he's definitely loving rallying and like to step it up if he can. He's liking the fact that he can learn through and drive something on this Cover X. What amazes me for a guy who's done all that he's done and runs one of the toughest events in the world, he finds this tricky event to do, throws it in. Neat and tidy, probably neater than Brinkman through there. He's a good steerer.
Ultra smooth. We'll continue the conversation on this. He's a proper athlete in the way that he goes about his motorsport. Let's check in on the leaderboard. Here's Jackie.
Thanks for that, Rusty. Unfortunately, we were having some big issues with timing before, so I have a very exciting update for you. At the end of stage 7, Harry Bates is still in the lead. He had a fantastic run. He actually did it in 8 minutes, 50 seconds, and Hayden Patton was an extra second on top of him. So while Hayden was clawing back some time, that gap has actually opened up a little bit more. There is now 6 seconds separating Harry Bates and Hayden Patton. Lewis had a good run also. He was another 14 seconds behind, but of course he missed out on stage 4. So overall it is still Alex Rullo who is coming third. Overall he's 2 minutes behind, and then overall Clayton Hoy is 3 minutes behind. So that's a rather exciting update that Harry Bates is still in the lead there, and Hayden hasn't quite gotten that advantage yet.
He'll take that. I think he'll enjoy I mean, he's had a couple of podiums this year, been looking for a potential outright win in 2025, but the real thing that he's wanted to do is to go up against someone a European Rally Championship winner, a winner of a WRC round, a 7-time New Zealand champion, and show him what he's got.
Oh, and the thing is, the fact that Hayden chipped away, got a second, they got another second, and got within 5, he needed to make that stand right then to be able to take another second out and make it a 6-second gap going to the last stage. Now Hayden needs about a third of a second per kilometre in this final run. Will he push? What will Harry do? That'll be a real confidence boost for Harry to know that he's got him through this the longest stage of the day.
How much will the selection of Car 1 be hurting Hayden Patton? Maybe not as much as WA?
Oh, I don't believe so. I think they've all agreed with that. And this is, of course, the second pass. So you go through here. the advantage is sort of mostly gone, and they're so close on the road together now.
Was a little funny moment during last night's Bosch Motorsport draw. He got to shuffle the cards. He got to shuffle them. So here's Molly Spaulding on the way in. Different shape, this WRX.
Yeah, it's the old spec GC8 in the wagon. Let's have a listen. People love this car. And stepping up from, she was basically in the same car as the Gluskies, fighting it out in one of those RS Challenge cars, a non-turbo. This is a turbocharged. It's the hatch version, which is pretty unique. There's not too many of them around the place, let alone being a rally car. And it's got the distinctive boxer note as they go through. And she'd be learning the turbocharge, how to drive that car on boost and things like that, away from being able to rev out a non-turbo car.
In addition to all of the things that have been happening at the Gympie Showground, a lot of car clubs have shown up today as well. So WRX owners have been there and caught up with Josh Buchan before too, two-time TCR Australia champion. He's here with a whole group of Hyundai N customers and lovers.
Yeah, how fantastic. You've got manufacturers coming through, enjoying their cars. They went out and watched stage one, came into service, could see and meet and greet the drivers, Hayden Padden and the Hyundai, Alex Rullo. Then we had, WRX people coming through talking to Toby Price. They love the fact they can talk and particularly see the car and the brand that they're passionate about being out there. And, of course, that, not too bad to be led around in your tour group by Josh Buchan.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So, and I think the beauty of it, for me, is that, I love how competitive and close the rallying is. And, I had a bit of a laugh I was alluding to before with Toby. For all his experience, the fact he goes, these roads are gnarly over here. I think, yeah, you're kidding me. You're like one of the bravest guys I know. And yet you find these roads intimidating. But that's another part that I think a lot of people don't realise. I think Hayden would start to know that now. Because, Australia's so big, we have such interesting and different roads. Our championship's very diverse, which actually makes you a very complete driver. And I think, Hayden will be enjoying that challenge.
Nathan Stokes.
Yeah, it's got the Subaru run by the Les Walkden team here. It's the sedan version, what we affectionately call a GVB. Great little machine, well kept. He had a big accident early in the year. The car's been rebuilt. And like I said, doing a lot of the Australian Championship rounds with the Les Walkden team.
Going a little slow there on the run-up. Yeah, it doesn't sound right, does it?
Sounded like he had a lot of anti-lag on.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit of anti-lag, but I think for him, he's flicking through the gears, making sure through there, his times have been a little bit off probably where he'd like to be, but like I said, it's probably coming back from that bigger accident, one of the early events he's been back to, and probably still finding a little bit of confidence at the same time. Just
to wrap up your point on Toby Price too, the way that he has been so disciplined, so measured, not surprising with the kind of endurance and smarts that are required for a Dakar and some of these long-distance Baja events. You play a ticket, or it's a great old saying in commentary, but be there at the end, basically.
Yeah, and you're exact, and that's probably what's impressed me most. You'd think with a lot of eyes on him that you want to be out there and showcasing every single stage time. He's not like that. He's going, no, I'll find. I've got to be comfortable. I've got to do my apprenticeship here. And so, running out of WA,
Glenn Brinkman, basically.
Well, the thing was, he ended up beating Glenn, relatively convincingly in Perth in really slippery conditions. But he's come out and Glenn was beating him in the opening stages. They've actually ended up having a real tight tussle, which they would love because they were actually good mates as well. But I actually find that's actually a real feature of what Toby would do if he wants to do more in this sport. That will serve him very well as he does that, climbs that apprenticeship ladder, because that's exactly what you've got to do. You look at a similar thing with Alex Rullo and things. You've got to get the Ks under your belt to get the experience up.
They talk about getting the bug. He's got that. This is a generational story. So Jackson Long alongside Damien Long. I've got enough grey hair to remember Grandad at the wheel and the Long family competing there. Great story from. And always from the memory bank with Premier Pools backing, obviously.
That's exactly right. Still see that on the tents there before. And Damien, of course, an ex-Works co-drove for the Toyota team with Ben Barker. Pretty flamboyant, the entry there on that right hand of the course. But at least we've been bringing the neck of this thing, non-turbo, RS, challenging the Gluskies in the juniors. Probably the most aggressive approach we've seen. Lifted up early, but hooked it back in and was quite aggressive on the turn-in.
It used a bit of, if it was a circuit racing scenario, it used a bit of curve before he flicked it back to the right, didn't he?
Definitely used a bit of curve. And he's actually doing some very good times outright, actually. He's a really good young talent, in actual fact. And would you believe, doing things like his high school exams, trying to fit them in. So he's got mum making sure, okay, you can be a race driver today, but make sure you're studying on Monday. So no, great story and a great family.
Should say a massive thank you as well to everybody in the Gympie Shire, the Mary River region. What a welcome we've had here, and what a roll up of fans. Heaps of fans that are actually just lining the railway area beside us here. You can see them there on the drone. Check that out.
Yeah, how good is that? I mean, to come out, I mean, I said it before at the start of the day, you know, when you've got some of these world-class cars, world-class drivers, are spectacular to watch. I mean, that's what we're probably really loving about being out here on the stage. We get to see it. You know,
Play fan.
Yeah, exactly. See them, you know, what's the difference between this line and that line, and, you know, be able to bring that to you over multiple corners. Sometimes when you're out here spectating, you just get the one spot. So, you know, I really appreciate the effort that people are making to come out here and see some of these cars live.
17 kilometres this stage, another 16 to go beyond this one. The back end of the day, if you will, Dean, takes on... It's not a marathon. That's not the right way to say it, but the stages are longer. You have to be mindful of that, don't you?
Oh, absolutely you do. And that's why I think that tussle right at the top, you'll see some people who like Alex and Lewis, who's in fight-back mode. At the end of the day, they're trying to consolidate their run. You know, no man's land, for want of a better term, but, geez, it is red hot at the front of the field.
Shane and Sylvia Garner, 1994 Subaru Queenslanders, made their ARC debut in Canberra.
Yeah, great to see them stepping up and doing their Queensland teams as their local round. But, you know, the green, distinctive GC8, once again, one of these little sort of purest sounds from the Boxer engine. It'd be just as easy for them to enter the Queensland Championship, to do a few less Ks, spend a little less money, but to be able to join the National Series, I think is always, when it comes to your homeland, if you can make the step up, I think you should always do it.
And I think, too, we should, I mean, the competitors from a state perspective, even the regularity perspective, that are beyond the lineup in the Australian Championship that we're watching here at the moment, they've kind of, because of the wild weather that we've had in these parts, they've been a bit starved of rallying, and they've brought them out in droves, haven't they, the cars?
Maybe that's why they're saying the conditions are perfect. Maybe they're not that good, but they're actually dry and have been able to do at the stages. Yeah, the Queensland Championship particularly has been suffering a little bit with that stuff. So, you know, great to see that they can get their teeth into a few stages, get a few competitive Ks up, etc. has really been awesome.
Definitely. We'll be with you here right through the ARC field. As we said before, if you're in the area, come and join us at the Gympie Showgrounds. We've got all sorts of things, a real kind of festival vibe there with car displays.
Markets going on,
and
some of the classic cars we saw rolling through is unbelievable to see, and then the service park being right next door. Yeah, there's actually a lineup to get in, so which was fantastic. You know, and what it was cracking weather. I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, I know it's rained earlier in the week and stuff like that, but geez, we've been treated. Queensland has definitely delivered on the weather front for us.
Absolutely. A big thank you to all of those from a car club perspective that are involved with the event, because there are lots of
200 this weekend.
And they've been here, many of them, since very early this morning. They'll be here until probably dark this evening, and they'll repeat that tomorrow to ensure that this event runs seamlessly. You can stay up to date, as we said. Rally.com.au is the place to do that. You can head to the Subaru Results Hub. Lots of events still to come. We're only going to be when we wrap things up tomorrow afternoon, we'll be at the midpoint of the season. Why don't we get an update of things?
Yeah, after the next car, we'll have an update, see what Jackie's been trying to trawl through the difficult job of trying to decipher the results on the stages and give us an update on that. So we'll wait for the next car to come through, then cross to Jackie for that update. We're obviously we're hoping to see Tony Oates come through, who will be in the front-wheel drive machine. So let's see what he does. That should be a high-revving machine of a Honda. So if you're the Honda fan out there, see him. WA moved to Victoria, now resides from there, has Anthony Soltari with him. This is their first time together, would you believe, as a combination joining up for this particular one. So he should be hopefully coming into vision shortly. We can see the Honda in full flight.
If memory serves, you know what this section of road is like in a front-wheel drive, do you not?
Yeah, actually I do. You're not supposed to reveal us. The corner behind me is actually, we had a poster made on it. There you go. Like I said, I've never stood in this particular spot, but yeah, our 1998 Hyundai poster was on this particular right-hander. I must have done it okay, or look good on a photo anyway. So.
Front-wheel drive, a little bit of a different discipline to some of the rear-wheel drive cars. But you found, you and I were talking about this recently, the transition from that machine to the all-wheel drive cars made it a little bit easier, the grounding and all of that, didn't it?
Well, I actually think it's closer to go front-wheel drive to all-wheel drive is a closer transition than a rear-wheel drive car. You drive those cars completely different from that point of view. So from that side of things, absolutely, it's I think it's an easier step up. But we still see, particularly in the classics and things like that, some people really steer some of those rear-wheel drive cars unbelievably hard and unbelievably well.
Cars on approach will let you soak up a bit of the sound.
A bit of a gap, so I'm hoping it's him, but let's see who's coming up on this particular shot. If it's not him, it could be Mike Bailey coming through. He's in the GTIR. Now, this is a bit of nostalgic as well. The Nissan GTIR turbocharged hot rod, I believe, didn't handle too good back in the day, but I love seeing it out there. And would you believe, One Tommy Mackinnon drove one of these in the World Championship when they were trying to debut and make their mark in the World Rally Championship.
When I was at Galvanised Insurance Rally Central before, caught up with this pairing just briefly, and I think there was a ball joint issue with this car.
Yeah, I thought they went in. Yeah, they went
came
into
to
service early. Yeah, correct. So they're back out. They're doing a Lewis Bates basically and rejoining. So let's see how he goes here and what a Nissan sounds like through the forest. He's had a bit of a dip through there. Didn't
When
he?
in
Pretty
doubt.
wide too. Well, a bit of a misshift on the way out though in the dust.
Yeah, so they were able to get that done. There was, they just wanted to ensure that they'd be able to rejoin.
Yeah, which is a smart play,
Yeah.
absolutely, from that point of view.
Let's get an update on the outright state of things. We're nearing the end of Heat 1. Here's Jackie.
Well, I do have an update on the Production Cup standings. Obviously, that was one of the talking points coming into this weekend. And so currently in the lead is Clayton, and only 1 minute and 33 seconds behind him is Josh. So that is a very tight and close, exciting competition to be watching for the rest of the day and into tomorrow. Overall, again, we have, it is Harry Bates in the lead, Hayden Patton, Alex Rullo, Clayton, Josh, and Patrick O'Brien in sixth. And we've just had some more numbers come through.
They explode on your screen, don't they? When they're coming through there, you're trying to get yourself set. There's actually a few times missing in there. I mean, it's difficult when you're out here. We're trying to get some range and stuff like that, but some good updates there in regards to time. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I was trying to get Toby Price's time.
Yeah, well, it hasn't come through yet, has it?
Still not quite coming through.
Yeah, well, we'll wait for that one to come through. We hope he's completed the stage. Can you look that up for me to make sure he's got through in the WRX Challenge?
To the point that you're both making, I mean, obviously, Peter Rullo missing, Scott Petter missing, for example, and more.
This should be the last car on the ARC now. This should be the classic Porsche coming through here. So we talked about rear-wheel drive. This is our big chance to see a rear-wheel drive car tackle this section of the road here. And a Porsche at that.
I'm going to enjoy this. Zach Hedge, Caleb Ash.
Yeah, Caleb joining him from WA.
You might think, I mean, if people
sounds
like,
pretty good.
it does, doesn't it?
We're hearing it. Yeah, exactly. Let's see him come through here. This is, like I said, steeper downhill than you think. Turns it into the culvert. Once he's got it turned in, we put the power on about now. You think he's trying to have a straight run up. This is a tight left-hander uphill. Loops around. See him come into play. You can see it wanting to rev, wanting to get up, get on the power, get on the power.
70 spec 911, something very special about that. But I mean, Porsche have been involved we tend to think of them in a circuit racing sense, but they've been involved very significantly in rallying over the years, haven't they?
Definitely. We see that iconic shape doing Dakar and all sorts of things like that. So, no, absolutely a place to play. And, we mostly see them around here in tarmac and other bits and pieces. But to see someone tackling a car like that on gravel, I love. And, Zach's done a great job. I've seen him in South Australia where the roads are a little faster. I think he enjoys a little bit more in that car.
That is coming up, second last round of the championship there in SA. That is it for now on behalf of Jackie and Dean, where we've enjoyed bringing you live coverage from Kandanga. We'll wrap things up at day's end. You can follow all the results at the end of Heat 1 just by going to our E-Road Australian Rally Championship social channels. On behalf of the crew, we'll catch you tomorrow. Bye for now.